What happens when Disney's obsession with reimagining fairy tales finally backfires? Tangled was supposed to be next in line, a live-action spectacle based on one of the most beloved animated films of the modern era. Fans were hyped, rumors were swirling. Casting predictions flooded TikTok and Reddit. And then, nothing. The project quietly vanished. No trailer, no update, no announcement, just radio silence. Why? Because the disaster that was Snow White, led by Rachel Zegler, didn't just flop. It sent shockwaves through the entire studio. Her off-script comments, the political backlash, and the brutal box office numbers forced Disney to slam the brakes. Now Tangled, a film fans were begging for, is caught in the fallout. And it's not the only one. This isn't just about one movie. It's about the future of Disney's entire remake empire. Let's get into it. Number 1. Tangled was supposed to be next. Out of all the modern Disney princess films, Tangled had one of the loudest fan bases begging for a live-action remake. It wasn't just a nostalgic pick. Tangled was fresh enough to still feel modern, but beloved enough to have earned its place in Disney royalty. Rapunzel wasn't a damsel. She was smart, defiant, funny. Flynn Rider, practically a meme legend. The music, the visuals, the storytelling, Tangled felt like a no-brainer for a cinematic revival.
What? Well, I hope you're here to apologize.
And for a while, it looked like Disney agreed. Multiple credible insiders reported that the project was in early development as far back as 2020. Michael Gracie, the director of The Greatest Showman, was attached at one point, giving the project even more musical credibility. Casting rumors ran wild. Florence Pugh, Sabrina Carpenter, even Dove Cameron were all fan favorites for Rapunzel. For Flynn, Harry Styles, Dacre Montgomery, and a few up-and-coming TikTok heartthrobs were all thrown into the mix. Disney didn't confirm anything, but they didn't deny it either. That silence only fueled speculation. Everyone assumed it was just a matter of when, not if. But then, following the nuclear-level fallout of Snow White, the updates stopped. No new casting leaks, no director confirmations, not even concept art. It was as if Disney quietly hit pause and hoped no one would notice. Spoiler alert, people noticed, especially when Tangled was supposed to be the safe bet, and now it's the first to get shelved. But the reason why? That starts with another princess. Number 2, Snow White's disaster changed everything. If Tangled was the dream, Snow White became the nightmare. Rachel Zegler was handpicked by Disney to lead the charge into a new era of princess storytelling. Young, talented, diverse. On paper, she was everything the studio wanted. But what happened next turned a fairy tale comeback into a full-blown crisis. During her press run, Zegler made headlines, but not for the reasons Disney hoped. She openly criticized the 1937 classic, calling the prince a stalker and brushing off the love story as weird. She said Snow White didn't need saving and that the remake would be a feminist rewrite. That might have sounded empowering in the boardroom, but online, it exploded. Fans felt insulted. The studio's legacy was being dismissed, live on camera by the star hired to carry it. It wasn't just one comment. It was clip after clip, stitched and reposted thousands of times with captions like, "Disney hates its own movies now." Then came the politics. Zegler's social media history resurfaced, including Free Palestine posts that reignited already tense global conversations. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot, an Israeli actress playing the evil queen, reportedly received death threats, prompting Disney to assign her private security during the press tour. It became too much.
That my name is Gal, and I'm Jewish, and we have had enough of Jew hatred.
Disney pulled back. Marketing slowed. Promotion went quiet. The movie, once meant to anchor their remake strategy, was now a liability. And behind the scenes, execs started reevaluating every project in the pipeline. Tangled was up next, until Snow White crashed so hard it shook the schedule. And the fallout didn't stop there. Number 3, the woke fatigue hits Disney. After Snow White detonated, something else started to spread, something Disney didn't see coming: audience fatigue. But not just with remakes, with the message. Critics, influencers, even former fans started using the word Disney hates hearing most, woke, and not in a good way. #WokeDisney trended on X. Comment sections flooded with variations of, "Why can't they just tell stories without lecturing us?" People weren't just mad at Snow White, they were fed up with what they saw as a pattern. The concern wasn't about diversity or inclusion, it was about execution. Fans argued that characters were being rewritten not to enhance the story, but to push an agenda. Original classics were being treated like outdated relics that needed to be fixed instead of celebrated. It didn't help that remakes like The Little Mermaid, Peter Pan and Wendy, and Pinocchio also underperformed critically or financially in the last 2 years. Disney had positioned itself as a modern studio with a conscience, but some say they forgot how to entertain along the way. According to leaks from former Disney staffers, internal meetings started shifting. Studio heads began using words like course correct, brand trust, and legacy protection. Translation: the audience revolt worked. Now, remakes aren't greenlit with the same rubber stamp. Every project is under scrutiny. Scripts are being rewritten, budgets are shrinking, and more importantly, risk tolerance has dropped. That's why Tangled wasn't just paused, it became a test case. And it wasn't the only one under fire. Number 4, Tangled's demographics scare them. At first glance, Tangled should be a slam dunk, but for Disney execs watching the cultural climate, it's a potential landmine. Here's why. Tangled doesn't just appeal to kids. It has a massive millennial and Gen Z fanbase. People who grew up with the film know the lyrics to I See the Light by heart and aren't afraid to drag an entire studio on TikTok if the remake goes sideways. These are the same fans who practically live online. If Disney casts someone controversial as Rapunzel, if Flynn Rider's personality gets neutered, if they rewrite Mother Gothel into a misunderstood feminist metaphor, it's game over before the trailer even drops. And Disney knows it. Internal sources say the response to Snow White spooked the board. But Tangled is what made them nervous. It's not just about backlash, it's about viral backlash. Memeable, stitchable, relentless content that can tank a film's reputation before it even finishes post-production. Worse, people already don't trust them with it. The moment fans heard the words live-action Tangled, Reddit threads lit up with concern. Please don't ruin it. Don't touch this one. They're going to make Flynn Rider a villain, aren't they? That kind of preemptive resistance is a red flag to investors and marketers. And when executives are nervous before a film is even greenlit, that's not just a delay, it's a death sentence in slow motion, especially when other upcoming remakes are already under the microscope. Number 5, other films now on thin ice. Tangled might have been the first to get quietly shelved, but it won't be the last. After the Snow White mess and the ripple effect it triggered, Disney's entire live-action lineup is being dissected behind closed doors. And according to insiders, several high-profile remakes are suddenly in limbo. Let's start with The Princess and the Frog. Originally announced as a Disney Plus series focused on Tiana, the project was meant to celebrate representation and musical tradition. But after the backlash over reimagining classic characters, concept art revisions, and changes in tone, the project has reportedly slowed down significantly. Fans already noticed the silence. Now we know why. Then there's Lilo and Stitch, a remake that's been plagued by casting controversies and social media outrage since day one. Some fans claimed colorism, others slammed the CGI Stitch design leaks. Disney's tried to steer the conversation back to nostalgia, but online, the noise keeps getting louder. And let's not forget Hercules, supposedly being developed by the Russo brothers with a modern TikTok musical twist, which, yes, is exactly as strange as it sounds. That pitch alone triggered groans from longtime fans. Now, that film's timeline just got pushed back again. Even Moana, a remake announced with Dwayne Johnson himself attached, has been met with confusion. Why remake a movie that's not even 10 years old? The answer: brand recycling. But that strategy isn't working anymore. And with every failed experiment, the studio gets a little more cautious. The dominoes are starting to fall, and Tangled may have just been the first to tip. Number 6, what happens next? Right now, Tangled is in what insiders call development purgatory. That's the industry term for a project that isn't officially canceled, but isn't moving forward either. No casting, no script revisions, no green light, just silence. And in Disney's world, that silence speaks volumes. Sources close to the studio say the project is indefinitely paused, with no timeline for when or if it will return. And while the public explanation is vague, the real reason is clear. They don't want another Snow White on their hands. What's more interesting? There's quiet talk about retooling the remake strategy entirely. That means fewer risky reimaginings, more faithful adaptations, and in some cases, just scrapping the remakes altogether in favor of sequels or original IP. Think about it. In the past year alone, Disney has taken massive financial hits from the Marvels, Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones, and now Snow White. Investors are getting anxious. And when money talks, even fairy tales get cut. Meanwhile, Disney Plus is shifting focus to cheaper, bingeable content. Executives are under pressure to avoid any project that could spark another public relations meltdown. So, where does that leave Tangled? Frozen. Not in Arendelle, but on a shelf at Disney headquarters, locked behind uncertainty and fear of backlash. And unless the studio makes some serious changes fast, more of your favorite classics might be heading there too. Disney wanted to modernize the magic, but somewhere along the way, they started rewriting the very stories that built their empire. Tangled was supposed to be a celebration, a love letter to fans. Instead, it's become a warning sign, a casualty of a studio that pushed too hard, too fast, in the wrong direction. The Snow White disaster didn't just pause one movie, it shook the foundation of Disney's entire remake machine. And now, every project is under fire. Every decision feels risky, and every fan is watching. So the question isn't just what happened to Tangled, it's, did Disney lose the plot completely? Let me know what you think. Did Disney ruin their own momentum? Or were they just trying to evolve with the times? Either way, the fairy tales are no longer safe.